Reading off a sheet of paper filled with lines number 3. The line for today is... Dad, Mom, I think my new piercing's infected. What is up, guys? It's my main Chief Fan here. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be doing a book haul, and I know this isn't the biggest book haul in the world. In fact, there's only really 6 books in the haul. But I'm doing this haul so that I don't have to do an even bigger haul than what I'm doing for my birthday after this week's break. Because I know, I'm taking another week's worth of break, but I know I'm an awful YouTuber. But at the same time, I can't make any videos next week, but I'm gonna hit it hard in the next, month or two after I come back, because because I just don't have time to make a video next week. So, anyway, and also, on June 8th, I'm going to this massive book sale where paperbacks are $1 and hardcovers are $2. So, that means, why not just get it out of the way with... Let's just get the books I just got over the last couple, a month or so, out of the way. And I'm actually proud of myself, because I cut down on my book buying a lot to save money, because I'm wanting to save some money. And I only got 6 books, and one of these was a gift, and 2 of these were gifts, early birthday presents. So, yay! So anyway, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into this. Oh yeah, and also before I start on the haul, I'm also going to be discussing 2 books I'm currently reading at the end of the video. But first, let's do the books that I haul. I'm hauling with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I know, I'm a guy reading Jane Austen, but I have to read this. It's my summer assignment, and my only summer assignment for this school year, so that's awesome. But I've been meaning to read Pride and Prejudice, and I did try this book out, a couple months ago, and absolutely hated what I read. But to be honest, I didn't give it a fair shot, so... And now I have to read the entire thing, because it's my summer assignment after all. So I'm gonna just read this entire thing and tell you guys what it's all about. I'm probably gonna read this in, July or something. But, because school starts up for me in late August, and I don't want to, forget everything I read and have to reread this, just in case if I don't like it. So, I'm gonna read this in probably late July, early August, and just tell you guys how it is, because this is one of the most famous novels of all time, and I'm like, you know what, let's just do it, even though I'm forced to do it, but let's do it anyway. I'm not just going to watch some movie adaptation because I can. It's an advanced class, so he'll ask some, nitty-gritty details about it, so I'm just gonna get through it, so yeah. Alright, the next book I have is Shanghai Girls by Lisa See in this kind of a beat-up edition, but, mainly because of this, sticker residue at the top. I may try to get that off later, but I read her most famous book, Snowflower and the Secret Fan, and really enjoyed it. So hopefully I like this one. This is more about historical fiction. It's much more historical than Snowflower and the Secret Fan was, even though I know that Snowflower was set in some other time period, but I just can't remember right now. Maybe because I don't know the history of Asia as well. But Shanghai Girls, it sounds awesome. I liked the first Lisa See book I read, and she just released a new book a couple months ago, so that's really cool. So, let's give this one a shot. Alright, the next book is another, Asian literature book, but Lisa See is actually, Asian American, I think. I think she's from America. I think she was, just have, American, blood in her. Yeah, Chinese American. This guy's just full-out Chinese. He was born and raised in China. I think he still lives in China. And that is Brothers by Yu Hua. And Yu Hua wrote To Live, which is a book that I absolutely loved. And this is his biggest book. It's about 600 pages. And that's what I just need right now. It's a big book. And I'll get to that later. So I'll satisfy that ordeal later with the big book. But Brothers sounded really good, and I just hey, let's get into another Yu Hua book. And I'm and then the rest of his shorter books don't sound as interesting. I do have one rented from the library, but I'm not going to show in this video because I don't think I'm even going to get around to it. But Brothers, I did buy this one, so I'm going to read this one eventually. And yeah, hopefully it's good. Alright, this is one of my birthday presents, and I was so happy to get this. I was so grateful. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous book. And they even said, and this was one of my presents for my parents. I'm just getting out there, but I'm not going to hide it or anything. I'm not going to be I bought every bit of this money. No, this was one of my gifts from my parents. And it is the Penguin Galaxy edition of The Once and Future King by T.H. White. What is, in my opinion, the greatest fantasy novel of all time. I think I bumped this down to a 4.5 out of 5 stars because it just didn't impact me as well to reach at a 5 out of 5 stars. But I did have it at a 5 out of 5 stars when I first read it, and I still love it. I mean, it's the greatest fantasy novel of all time, but in my personal opinion. But it didn't, like, there were some parts that were just kind of iffy to me, but overall, this book is phenomenal. It's the story of King Arthur, and it's the definitive story of King Arthur. If you want to experience the Arthur story, just read this. This is so fantastic. Though, there's one book, I can't remember the name of it. I think I'll put it up. It's like The Mist of something. I'll put it like up here or something. If you guys know what I'm talking about, comment down below on that. But The Once and Future King by T.H. White, it's a masterpiece. It's fantasy's masterpiece in my eyes. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is what changed the genre, and I do still love Lord of the Rings, but this one is what I think is to be fantasy's masterpiece. It's what you think of when you hear the word fantasy. Alright, the next book is from an author that I just read for the first time yesterday, or like over the course of the past couple days, ending yesterday, and this guy is like, people keep saying, if you like Stephen King, which I absolutely love Stephen King. In fact, 2 of his books are coming up. But if you love this guy, if you love Stephen King, you'll love this guy. And I know they write in kind of different genres, but let's just be honest, they have the same mode. And I think that just spoiled it. I'm just gonna get out of the way. It's Dean Koontz. I've heard so many people talk about Dean Koontz and say he's absolutely fantastic. And the very first time I tried him, I just couldn't really get into him. I thought he was kind of boring and just, alright, nothing too big. But then I read Phantoms by him, and I don't even remember the first book I read from him, but the first book I read the whole way through from him was over the past weekend with Phantoms, and I really enjoyed it. It was almost at a 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. Well, I didn't love it, but I was close to saying I loved it. It was a really good thriller. And then but this one is Lightning, which is another book that I just was fascinated by through its premise. And this sounds very character-driven, which is what I'm all for, because my favorite part of Dean Koontz of Phantoms was the characters. I thought he did fantastic with the characters, and I don't know what else he could have done otherwise, because, like, the characters is what drove the book for me. It was, like, what I was ultimately reading for. I couldn't care less about Snowfield, California, if it wasn't so attached for the characters. Because the characters is what drove me through the story. And even though the story was really good, it was just his characters that really grabbed me. So, seeing this premise being much more character-driven is awesome. Because it's about this young woman who, on the day that she was born, lightning strikes, and this mysterious man comes into her life and saves her from a fatal birth. Like, from her dying at birth. And then, ever since then, she keeps having reoccurrences of this man. It's kind of like a life story type of thing, and it just sounds awesome. It's actually the Dean Koontz book I'm most attracted to in terms of its premise, so cannot wait. Alright, the final book I'm hauling, well, I'm going to discuss 2 books afterwards, but the last book I'm doing the haul for is Everything is Eventual by Stephen King. I got this practically brand new hardcover. Well, technically it's used, so I guess I have to say like new, but it's like it's never been read before. And I got this for $2 at a library bookstore. This is why I love the library bookstore, guys, and this is why I love used books so much. Ugh, I love used books. But you just get so many great deals there. And this is a short story collection of 4 dark tales. So, I love Stephen King. You guys know this. I think he's one of the greatest authors out there, or at least greatest living authors out there. And he does write. He is the king of horror. You can't deny that. He is the king of horror. Sure, I may be liking Dean Koontz a little more now, but Stephen King's still the king in my eyes. No pun intended. Alright, now I have 2 books that I'm gonna be reading over the next week while I'm off. So, the first one I just want to get out of the way because it's like, I'm about 100 pages into this right now and I'm not liking it. I know it's going to get some people mad at me, but I'm sorry. I am trying so hard to like this book, and I've heard such amazing things about it. I just don't like it. I just can't get into it. And that is Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. I just can't! I really can't! It's just the way it's set up. If you don't know how this book is set up, here's a good page to showcase it. It's kind of like this, like, dialogue. It's, like, that's how the dialogue is set up, and that's pretty much how the book is set up. It's pretty much, there's not many descriptions, and what the descriptions are told through character monologues, like soliloquies, and it's just annoying, kind of, but at the same time, there can be good aspects of the writing. Like, I like how, George Saunders switches up his, like, writing style for each character. I do appreciate that. And I love his attention to detail, but there's just nothing going on in the story right now. I think it's very bland and just cliched with his characters. And yeah, it is interesting, and it's interesting enough that I'm going to say I am going to finish this one, but I'm just not liking this one, guys. I know most people love it, but if it does get better throughout the book as I go along, it still has potential to be a flat 3 out of 5, but I just can't see myself really liking this one because I just don't like the first 100 pages at all. And then the last book is my major project for the next week, like, in terms of reading. This is, like, the thing I'm going to be, like, focusing the most on after I finish Lincoln in the Bardo, which I hopefully want to do today. But I'm finally reading The Stand. I know, it's been a year since I first hauled this thing. But now I've officially started. I'm 50 pages in, and I can already tell this is going to be one of my favorite King books. I know that's early on, and I know loads of people complain about, one of the people's complaint about The Stand is, it takes too long to start. I need an immediate beginning. Well, hold on. Let me just get this out of the way. I love how he introduced these characters, especially Franny. I think she was just beautifully introduced, and I thought it was just fantastic. So, I'm already hooked, and I'm already excited to see where this goes. I'm on chapter 6, page 52. Let's do this! Yeah! So, that was the video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below what you guys thought of the video. And, as always, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys, in a week. Oh my goodness.